Welcome every one of you, no matter what your level is, if you've been through the book of Revelation and the Bible 1,000 times, or if this is your first time. Welcome to every one of you that wants to increase their knowledge of the King James 1611, the real Bible. So here we are. I'm Tom Thompson, your reader, your servant. And here we are at the table, Harriet Benzie and myself. We are the 1611 King James Bible Prophecy Church, and we're studying prophecy, our favorite subject. Now, as we had 15 and 16, we had two big events. We had the two sickles, and it harmonized with 15 where the two sickles were thrust in, and we had division of what? All the saints there praising God with their harps, and that's a gathering. And then we had the gathering of the Armageddon gathering. And those are the two sickles. And that harmonizes with what? With the 7 vials. Okay? So we see that the wheat is gathered into the barn. And that the wrath of God comes out on the stubble. Now we got to step back a little bit. In 17, we got the woman, the harlot, the whore of Babylon described. Okay, and she is the mother of all the idolatry. It's not actually a real woman. She represents the whore, as we are the bride of Christ. She is the whore of Babylon, an ungodly religion worshiping Lucifer and the beast and the false prophet and all that. So, and we get the 10 kings, the 10 unseen merchant kings, and they're represented by their horns of power. And then with the punishment of the whore and the victory of the Lamb here in chapter 17. So here we go. This is April 1st, 2023, and we're enduring the beast system as it is on fire, plaguing the world today as they're setting up their ungodly kingdom here in real time. So here we are in verse 1. It says, and there came out of the and there came in 17, and there came one of the 7 angels, capital A, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore, capital W, that sitteth upon many waters. And what is the many waters? Well, again, in many cases, it symbolizes all the kingdoms, all the continents on the firmament of the earth. And that's exactly what is taught here in the Bible. And what about the whore? And what about the merchant kings? It says, with whom the kings of the earth, little k, of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Okay, and I'm not interpreting this. This is a similitude language that I'm giving to you. Fornication is being intimate with the ungodly satanic religions, plural, of the earth. And that casts a spell over the person, the initiate that's getting involved with it. If you were born into it, if your family's been into it generationally, then this drunkenness is passed down through the spirit of Satan. So you're actually involved with this, and it is a spiritual fornication that makes you drunk. It gets you blind, you can't see, you think you're wise and you're not, okay? You're carried away in your ungodliness here in 2 and 3. So he carried me away in the spirit, capital S, into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Period. Okay. We're talking about the whore of Babylon, and she's riding the beast, and we know that's the beast system. We know we have the Antichrist beast and the false prophet beast that is likened to the Antichrist. All right, so, and this system has the 10 horns and the 7 heads. Okay, and what's ironic is that the European Union had this symbol there in Brussels, the capital at the time, this image of a lady, right? And she's naked and she's riding on this horned bull. And the sign underneath of it said, "The lady rides the beast." And then under that it said, "Rebuilding Babylon." How do you like that for plain English? But it's actually Eurippa. And that's who Europe was named after, Europe. She was the queen of Crete, and the mythology says that she was Zeus's offspring, you know, bred with the angels again, there you go. And that she was Nephilim, and she ruled Crete. And that was supposed to be the naked lady, and that was the sign. And as far as I know, that image, that statue, is still being used in Europe. But here we have the 10 horns and the 7 heads, and we're going to have that explained here. So I'll just go on. And for it says, "And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color." All right, those are royal colors throughout the Bible. "And decked with gold and precious stone and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication." All that symbolizes the ungodly religions that are really at the top all one, and it's Satanism. And this golden cup, all right, remember what we said, if you've been studying along with us, about cups and your duty. Okay, so she has a golden cup in her hand, which is to do the will of Satan. So here she is, she's the Antichrist Empire, and she's going to do the will of Satan. And that involves all these abominations, the child sacrifice, the ungodly religions, the drinking of blood. And that, my friends, is the filthiness of her fornication. Fornication is her sorcery and witchcraft. All right, in 5. "And upon her forehead was a name written." This is great big old letters here in the first printing of the King James Bible, 1611. It says, "Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth." Now that's an easy one, because all idolatry came from Babylon. The ungodly DNA of the Antichrist was spawned from Nimrod. Nimrod, the great ungodly Antichrist figure that caused his people to build the great obelisk to heaven where they could go up there and sacrifice people and mate with the angels there where the foreskin should go. And of course, Christ toppled that, right? But that's the, from there it spawned all the ungodly pieces of Osiris, which represent the different pieces. Those are religions, and they spread across the earth, and that's what verse 5 is all about. And this, in this woman, this system, these people are under their own spell. They're under the spell of Satan. "And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints," capital S, "and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration." Okay, that's John, and it is quite a sight here. And when they do these ungodly murders, they get this, what do you want to call it? This spell put on them. They get a rush. They get a force. Because remember, the spilling of innocent blood causes the ungodly angels to be attracted, like ungodly sex attracts them. Homosexual sex attracts the fallen angel. If you fornicate, it will get an angel on you. And if you have an angel on you, little a, it'll cause you to have ungodly sex. Now, how do you like that little formula? But here they are involved in this mystery religion, and there's a plethora of them. And again, connected at the top, under Satan. And here is such a sight that he's having in the spirit here, that he's wondering with this admiration. 7, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? ? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay? So there's the woman, that's the harlot. She's riding this system that's over the whole firmament of the earth. There's not a place where she is not involved. 8, it says, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Okay, some explanation must go into that. All right, there is the old system. Even pre-flood was this ungodly system, and yet it was picked up there in Babylon. That's what was. And it was cut down, it was chopped down, right? And then, but the spirit of it was there. The roots of it did not die like an old poison ivy plant. It was destroyed, but it was not completely stamped out. It metamorphosed into 12 different pieces, but yet they're involved in the 4 layers of world government. The Medo-Persia was next, then the Greco-Roman was next, and then Mystery Babylon. And that, so she, even though she was destroyed, she was lurking. And that old nasty poison ivy plant was ready to grow, and now it's been watered with the blood of the saints, and here it comes. And that's what we're talking about here in 8. It was in the past history, and it's not appearing here directly when he's on this island at this time, on his prison island here in Patmos, but its spirit is out there, and it will be revived in our time, and we're seeing the fruit of that, folks. In 9 it says, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Period. Okay, lots of people go to this and say, look, Rome says it's the city of 7 hills. And that's true. Rome does make that claim. The Vatican thought they were gods on earth here. That's true. But they're not the only town, you see. Jerusalem says the same thing, and there's other, because God's kingdom takes this title. So when they say that, like say they're in Utah, where they say they are really the New Jerusalem there, okay? And so there's lots of places that want to take this title for God's kingdom. this place of 7 hills, because that's his holy number, and they want to make the claim to that. And no different than the Vatican saying it. And they are a big part of the Mystery Babylon system. That's true. And Jerusalem makes the same claim. We are the city of 7 mountains, okay? And all these places are all involved with the whore of Babylon. And there is not a place on the firmament of the earth that is not involved with it, okay? But that's not all. We have this ungodly bloodline. And it goes all the way back to Nimrod by their own mouth, okay? And they worship Nimrod. He's in their doctrine. They lay claim to him behind closed doors. Now, what they present to the public may be something else. They may say they're the seed of David or whatever they say. But yet there's 7 of these antichrists, okay? And 5 of them are gone. You know you got to have Nimrod. You know you got to have Alexander the Great. You know that you got to have Nebuchadnezzar, okay, these world government people that ruled the world, okay? And there's, in this prophecy here, there's been 5 of them, okay? The other is not yet come. All right, now the one is, okay, and he's involved in what? Rome. Okay, so these Caesars, lots of them, like the popes, would get up and cross the swords and say, I'm the vicar on earth. Okay, and with that, there's an Antichrist that's here. The Nero bloodline's a good example. They changed their name and went into the Habsburg people, right? They did not go away. So these kings have risen and fallen, and there's an Antichrist figure during this time, and he's involved with the Roman government, and the other is yet to come, and that is who? Well, that's this beast. That's the final. It ain't Hitler. Hitler was a schoolboy working for the Fool Society. I mean the Thule Society. Okay, and he must continue a short space, and that, my friends, he was born in 1966, he turned 33, or he was impregnated in 66, he turned 33 in the year 2000, and here he is today, and he's getting ready to step up to his throne here publicly. He is already on his throne privately. He is in stealth, the Bible teaches. And he will make this peace agreement in stealth. But when it's made, it will continue 2,300 days, 1 week of years, and it'll be gone forever. Okay? 11, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th. Okay, so there he is, the 8th king. And he is of the 7. See, it's this ungodly family, this bloodline, this Nephilim that think they're bred with angels, is of the 7 and goeth into perdition. And where's perdition? Hell. That's where he's headed. And he wants to drag as many people as he can to hell with him. All right, so you got that. Now 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet. Okay, and that's back there at Patmos in era with this Caesar Antichrist figure, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Okay, period. Now, we've heard a lot of stuff about who these 10 kings are over the years. People used to say that it was the first 10 countries that formed Rome or formed Greece. They used to say, no, it's the Muslims and their oil monopoly, and it had 10 pillars. And there was lots of these things where the number 10 was used, and that's because the Illuminati worships that number 10. They just do. Okay, so that being said, when I discovered that there were 10 multinational corporations that have no allegiance to any country, those had all the world's wealth, and I discovered that back in the 80s, I knew that this was it. And one of those multinational corporations is IBM. It's the big daddy, and that's where the Antichrist sits. He just does. He's a Nephilim, and involved with the chip, with the mark. All right. So it's a multinational with these creatures. It's not some smaller part of it. It's not just Europe, although Europe is the base. The Eastern Europe is where these Satanists came from in our era. So it is involved with Europe too. It's involved with the United States. It's involved with Russia. All the 10 of these merchant kings, these unseen rulers over the kings, those people have one mind. Here, listen to this. Okay, they receive their power with the beast. Okay, so he's there when they take their place. So you knew when this rise to power of the Antichrist would come up with these 10 multinationals, and it all came up all at once in stealth. I had to get it at OU. That's Ohio University. And they were talking about the 80% of the wealth was all involved that had literally monopolized everything and sucked up all the smaller countries into their fold. And they all have one mind. These have one mind in 13 and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Period. And that's why I say, watch out for these wars, because war is a racket. Okay? And so the military industrial complex that makes all the weaponry, and they just get filthy rich while the wars are going on. Everyone else gets in trouble. They get broke. Okay? And so be careful with saying Putin's the king of the North, and all this other stuff is front people. If anybody was on the front of Time magazine, they are a front person in the media. Okay, so what about these Antichrist and his 10 minions here that are giving their power to him? These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Okay, so there we are. There's our credentials to be there with Christ. All right, now what did we say? You can't just say that it's the oil companies, or it's the just Europe, or it's America. America's the whore and all that. Forget all that. Don't try to pin it down on one country or one island somewhere, or on Jerusalem only, or on the Vatican only. All that just doesn't fit the bill. What does fit the bill? Well, verse 15 is it. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sittest, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Folks, that's everywhere. Okay? And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Okay? Now there is the mindset of the Satanist. They have created this whore. The old mystery Babylon harlot has risen, and they have poured everything they have into her. And they create this system, and it feeds on itself. And in the process, the people that served her will be eaten up. And this, if you go through history, this happens. The mechanism that's used to put one of these Antichrist figures in power will be thrown under the bus. Can I use that modern term? Thrown under the bus. It will be disintegrated. For instance, in Russia, they used the Masonic Hall to put their Antichrist figures in power, and then made war against the Masonic Hall. They got thrown under the bus. And it's the same here. Even the doctors have been used to kill people over the centuries. And Stalin turned on them, even. Even the dentists, because all those people served him. So when it come to the Russian takeover, specifically, the mechanisms were destroyed. And so when he needed a dentist, he didn't have one. Okay, so this is an example of what happens. And this is now bigger than Russia. This isn't Russia. Russia's involved with it. Of course it is. Russia has had this vision of world government with the Antichrist sitting there the whole time. They've been big involved with it, and so has America. Okay, but they, in public eye, they make sure they are enemies, and they'll have their soldiers fight. Well, that's dialectics, folks. Dialectics, left wing, right wing, synthesize together and move the agenda forward. It's called Hegelian dialectics, and it's used. And Russia against the United States is a good example of that. Okay. 17, for God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be finished.
Fulfilled.
Okay, 17, for God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom and unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. Okay? Now in 18, the 3 6s mark of the beast number. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. And let's not try to label one place. If there is a tip of the spear, even if it moves, if you say it's Rome, Rome will move to Jerusalem, will be the tip of the spear, but that's not it. Jerusalem isn't going to be the only kingpin that's involved here with this world government system. No, because they're all involved here. Okay, so that's that. And so she sits on the many waters. That's all across the firmament. So we can't think like it's the old map. See, in the public eye here in the news, they give us the old map, the old conflicts, but yet there's a whole new map of the earth that came out of the Club of Rome, where it was announced back at the Feast of the Beast in 1952. And that new map for the world was laid out there. Okay? So we got to think in modern times. We can't go back to the old map. We have these 10 multinational corporations. These 10 multinational corporations have all split the world up. They all rule over one section of the firmament of the earth, and that's laid out in 4 great trading blocks. north, south, east, and west. And with this ram and the he-goat that we're living through, this thing with Iran that's headed to the peace agreement, the power of the West will be broken, and we'll be left with the three great trading blocks. That is the real power of the earth, and it's all involved with these 10 unseen merchant kings. And we are going to get more descriptions of these scoundrels and what they do to people. Okay? All right, so we'll take this up in chapter 18, and we'll be talking again about these 10 unseen merchant kings and how they work. All right? So we'll take that up right there in chapter 18. So I hope to see you there, folks. Bye-bye.